What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Tuesday, April 5th. So we actually got a bunch of stuff that we need to discuss today. First, we know the Senate has agreed on COVID funding. Well, that's good news and bad news. I'll address why in today's video. Gonna address a little bit of a stimulus update because what we're seeing is the federal government isn't really proposing new things. They're also not passing new stuff as far as stimulus is concerned, but states are stepping forward. Another state has actually proposed passing some relief for their residents, so that's good news as well. We also are going to address some recession risk and what the ARK Invest CEO, Cathie Wood, has recently stated. We're going to address SNAP benefits and some good news there, and also talk about why the Treasury blocked Russia from paying for some of their debts. So we'll address all those things in today's video. As always, if you enjoy these daily uploads, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that like button. So here's what we know. As of yesterday, the Senate has agreed that $10 billion for COVID funding is more than enough. What they're saying is that, yes, this is much less than the $22.5 billion that the White House wanted. It's less than the $15.6 billion that they were considering just a week or so ago, but this will be fully paid for. Senator Mitt Romney stated that this package would address America's urgent COVID needs, but furthermore, he stated, this bill will not cost the American people a single additional dollar. This is kind of the reason why the negotiations stalled for $22.5 billion, for $15.6, because it would actually cost a little bit more money. Now, even though Democrats weren't completely satisfied with this, they are saying that they want to move forward and they're committed to discussing additional international COVID aid later on this spring. So things aren't done as far as international COVID aid, but it is temporarily put on hold. So good news is that this is going to be, they're going to move forward with this and hopefully get something done very quickly. Chances are by the end of this week. Now, let's address stimulus. And this is one of the questions I get all the time is, why does this state get stimulus and not this state? Well, and here's the reason why. Some states get more revenue. They have a bigger surplus. And so because of that, they're willing or able to offer additional checks or other assistance. Well, here's what I can tell you. Right now, Senator Joe Manchin, he's open to restarting negotiations over stimulus on the federal level, and House Democrats are putting together plans as we speak to get Senator Joe Manchin on board. But at the moment, stimulus on the federal level isn't coming, but it is coming from the states. For example, here's another state that just yesterday proposed another stimulus check plan. That state is Illinois. Here's what we know. This was actually proposed by Democrats, which at this time, I can tell you Republicans are not happy with this because they say this is just a campaign stunt just months before the election. That's what we're going to get. Whether this passes or not, the opposite party, which is Republicans in this case, they're going to say this is just a campaign stunt. Remember, when Democrats said this exact same thing when former President Donald Trump wanted to provide cards, okay, kind of like relief cards for elderly individuals. Well, guess what? It didn't happen because Democrats said, no, it's just a stunt. That's all it was. But here's what's in this bill that's being proposed out of Illinois. What would happen is most taxpayers would actually receive $100 per person and $50 per child. They would also see that property owners would get $300 in property tax relief checks. Grocery taxes would be suspended for 6 months alongside a suspension of the gas tax increases. And the state would freeze all taxes on school supplies for 10 days in August. That's what's in the plan. Now, if you live in Chicago, this plan pertains to you, but so does this next plan. According to reports from we are hearing right now that Chicago's mayor, Mayor Lightfoot, she plans on proposing something that's going to cost about $12.5 million. This is going to have about $7.5 million go towards 50,000 prepaid gas cards worth $150. And $5 million would go towards 100,000 transit cards worth $50. The purpose behind this, obviously, is to reduce the cost of gas. That's it. Whether you take public transportation or you drive your own vehicle, at least $150 for your own gas or $50 for a transit card, these would be huge for many people, especially the lower income earners. So, we'll see what happens, but as of right now, those are just two of the things as far as stimulus is concerned that are being considered at this time. And again, as soon as we know about any more stimulus packages or proposals, I promise I will bring you those as soon as possible. Now, let's address a major concern that a lot of people have, and that is a recession. And just so we're on the same page, let's figure out what a recession is first. Okay, a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. Now, I wanted to bring that up because that's all a recession is. Now, a recession, it could be a deep recession. Okay, it could be something that drags on for months or years, but a recession technically is just 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. Okay, so why do many people believe we are on the brink of a recession? Well, let's address that, because according to Cathie Wood, who's the CEO of ARK Invest, she says that she believes a recession could come due to inventory buildup. That is key, because what we know is that once inventory builds up to a level where there's more supply than demand, prices are going to fall. Well, guess what's happening right now? Inventory is building up. We have seen over the past 6 months that many retailers, they were buying all these products, right? Trying to buy, in September, October, November to get ready for, Christmas, get ready for the holiday season. Well, guess what? A lot of the products that they were buying are now showing up to their stores. They don't need that much inventory now, because guess what? Consumers aren't spending money like they did, back in the holiday season in November and December. They're not doing that. They're saving money. So this is why many economists believe the U.S. is actually going to follow kind of where Europe is headed, where Europe has already seen this. And according to multiple economists, Europe and China are likely already in a recession, but the U.S. isn't. According to multiple reports, they're saying that the U.S. is likely to go into a recession sometime in 2023. But that could mean that we are in a recession by the end of 2022 and leading into 2023. Again, 2 consecutive quarters, which means 6 months. Okay? Now, why should we be aware of the risks of a recession? That's one of the questions I got just the other day, and I want to address this because a recession is a difficult time for not only the U.S. economy, but for the American people. Here's why. When the U.S. economy is in a recession, we are more likely to see decreased spending amongst consumers. And when we spend less money, the business makes less money. When a business makes less money, they're more likely to lay off workers. When workers get laid off, and depending on how long this goes, we could see real estate prices drop because people are not able to afford their homes anymore. Cars could drop because, well, they got to sell them. You just can't afford them, right? Vacations aren't a thing, right? So obviously all this stuff isn't good. But that's why we need to be well aware of a recession. Because if we do see a recession, chances are millions and millions of Americans are going to be impacted. So you got to be aware of that. But speaking of a recession, there is some good news out there, not regarding a recession, but some of the benefits that we are currently getting. And some of those are SNAP benefits. Now, I addressed this just the other day that in 10 days on April 15th, we are going to see the supplemental SNAP benefits. Those are going to expire, meaning you're going to lose about $90 to $100 per month. Now, here's the reason why this, yeah, it's tough, okay? But this was also supposed to be a temporary fix, just temporary. But the issue now is prices are still going up. How do we deal with that? Well, there's a lot of discussions that are going on right now, but the issue is the discussions are going to take some time. What comes from the discussions, that's going to take even more time. So if we see any additional assistance, it might be in 3 to 6 months. So again, not the greatest news, but that is what we're hearing. However, we do have some good news for people that do collect or do get SNAP benefits, and that is that Target has actually been added to the list of acceptable online stores to allow for EBT and food stamps. Okay, this list also includes most major grocery stores that do online ordering. They do accept SNAP benefits. Okay, so you can use your card there. But what you need to keep in mind is that this also includes retail giants like Walmart and Amazon. So if you do not like going to the store and buying whatever you need, right? You don't have to. You can order a lot of these products right from Amazon or Target or Walmart and have them delivered. Now, let's address what the Treasury just did to Russia. And this is pretty important. Okay, I'm just going to touch on this because a lot of people they want to know what's going on with Russia, but at the same time they have an issue with learning about what's really going on. So again, I'm just going to touch on this very quickly, and let me know down in the comment section below if you do want to hear more about Russian news, about Ukraine, even international news. Okay, that is something that I've considered, is talking a little bit more about international news, but as long as it pertains to finance. So if that's what you want to know, let me know down in the comment section below. Here's what happened. Just the other day, the U.S. Treasury stopped Russia from paying debts through U.S. accounts. And according to a spokesperson for the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Accounts, they are saying that this move was intended to force Russia into either draining its domestic dollar reserves, spending new revenue to make bond payments, or just go into default. That's what they're saying. So this move by the U.S. Treasury is pretty much just to put more pressure on Russia to make sure that the U.S. sanctions are doing their job. Because if the U.S. Treasury were to accept these payments as is, the sanctions did pretty much nothing. So we're going to see what happens here. And in other Russian news, Russia says that it actually received about $3.6 billion less than they were forecasting from March oil and gas sales. Now this is pretty big because Russia is expecting to see more than $320 billion this year alone in energy sales. Now, this big change could actually put more pressure on Russia and make them either end the war sooner by either pulling out, or it's either going to ramp up their efforts and push more troops in. It's going to do one of the two things, but hopefully it's the first one where they decide to pull out of Ukraine. So we'll see what happens, but that is what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise to come back and share all latest news and updates. Again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.